AEW has a serious problem, and in today's video, we're going to talk about it. Yeah, guys, let's just nick it in the bud. AEW has a legitimate, serious problem, and we're going to break it down in today's video. As you guys know, Dynamite took place last night. HBO Max, TNT, or TBS, wherever you watch it. It took place last night, and it was the follow-up show from Revolution. Now, I want to preface this video by saying I watched Revolution. I was a huge fan of the show, except for one thing. That thing being the main event, which if you guys go back, I put out a video the other day talking about how I feel that they messed that main event up really bad. You can go ahead and watch that. I'll link it somewhere in here. So let's just dive into the first reason of many why AEW has a serious problem. And that first thing being that last night, AEW Dynamite, we had Kenny Omega come out. Now, keep in mind, Kenny Omega had won the International Championship from Konosuke Takeshita at AEW Revolution in what was a really good match, one that I was very profound about. I was very excited for that match. Now, the problem with this is we all knew Kenny was walking out of that. AEW has been one of the most predictable TV shows, I think, to date. Now, I want to also preface by saying this is not me hating on AEW by any manner. I love AEW. I love what they've done for wrestling. It's great, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to them, but we have to address the elephant in the room because there are many elephants in the room. So, back to my point here. Kenny Omega wins the International Championship from Takeshita in what was a great match. Problem here is that we had Kenny show up on the follow-up episode. He was the first thing that we see. He came out giving his little hoorah speech. Great, we're happy for Kenny, and we love that Kenny is there. I love seeing Kenny Omega on my TV. I'm never going to complain about that ever. But what I will complain about is that at AEW Dynasty, they are doing a tournament for Kenny's International Championship. Now, here's the problem with that. Kenny won the International Championship, and AEW, again, being very predictable, we know what AEW wants. They want Kenny versus Okada. They want it at All In. They want it at their biggest show. They want to be able to have a match of that caliber. Fair. I get it. I want to see Kenny versus Okada. I've seen it before. I'd love to see it again. I'm never opposed to those two wrestling. I'm here to tell you that. What I am opposed to is you giving me a tournament-based episode where you know and I know that you are not going to do anything with this tournament. It makes absolutely no sense for you to put on this tournament knowing damn well that Kenny Omega is still going to walk out of Dynasty with that International Championship. The problem here is, and the focal point here, is that AEW has been nothing but predictable. It makes people look at themselves, and many years ago, we did it under Vince McMahon and his regime. We're like, you're insulting our intelligence, and that, again, is what AEW is doing. They are, in some ways, insulting our intelligence. Now, I know a lot of people will agree with me on this sentiment, but there are people that will disagree with me. So, this video is not being made for the people that agree with me, although I love you guys. Thank you for being here. But to the people that disagree with me, I have to ask you, what does this do for AEW in the long term? It does absolutely nothing. You're essentially putting on this pay-per-view and putting on a match that doesn't need to happen. And people will argue, oh, well, WWE has B-level pay-per-views. The thing about WWE and what I've learned in the last 2 years is that regardless of those B-level pay-per-views, you never know what is going to happen. Whether that be with the World Heavyweight Championship, the women's, this, that, and the third, it doesn't matter. They've told me that things are unpredictable. Look at what happened on Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago when Io Sky won the World Championship. Nobody's seen that coming. Now, the thing about AEW is I know what they want. I know what they are looking for. I know that in their heart of hearts, they want Kenny Omega versus Okada. I know that that is what Tony Khan is looking for. He has made it very obvious. So why are we doing the tournament? To have somebody ultimately lose? Make somebody look a little bit weaker in defeat? What are we doing it for? But that is just one problem. Again, here today I'm going to give you about 3 problems. 3 problems that I noticed out of last night's episode. And I have to say, I told you guys on our live streams that I have been watching these shows and I have been watching them with an unbiased opinion. And going into the pay-per-view, I felt really good. I felt good that they were going to end the Death Rider storyline. I felt good about these things. Now, I digress. Let me go into my next talking point here. That being, MJF, Hangman Adam Page, put on a phenomenal match at AEW Revolution. I mean, it was stellar. It was a match that I very much enjoyed, and now I understand that people have their criticisms towards it. Whatever. That's fine. You're allowed to be a critic. My thing about it is the match was great, and the build to the match was even better. The shoot promo, them coming out, MJF trying to burn Hangman on fire, MJF explaining how Hangman is a hypocrite. All of these things make so much sense on the surface when you think about it. Now, here's my thing, is that when you're coming out of a show and you're coming out of a match of that size caliber, my expectation is that you're going to follow up and do something very, very special, especially with those 2 characters. Now, again, here is going to be some of people's arguments and their talking points. Hey, AEW did do a follow-up. They had him in a backstage segment. Yes, I'm aware. Hangman told MJF that he's afraid, and when you're doing something like that, you have to be ready to do so. That's fair. Now, what doesn't make sense to me is that we have MJF come out, do a promo, and in that promo, he talks about his loss, but we have MVP come out, who is the manager to the Hurt Syndicate. Now, people will say, oh, well, MVP can manage more than one group or one person, and no, that's not going to be the case. In some way, they'll have Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin be the backbone to what MJF is doing. That is what it looks like on the surface, and to me, that is a smack in the face to your tag team division that you are doing absolutely nothing with right now. Your tag team division is in fucking shambles. Your tag team division has not been relevant since 2021. Can't make that up. It has not. Ever since the Lucha Bros and Nick Jackson and the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt. So AEW is telling me that our tag team champs, well, they're just going to be the muscle to what MJF needs. And that, to me, is a smack in the face, as the Hurt Syndicate is supposed to do what? You guessed it, hurt people. They're not supposed to be buddy-buddying with people. They don't need MJF. And MJF sure as hell don't need them. I think we know that for a fact. My God, what are we doing this for? Why is this on TV? Why is this the follow-up to what was a great match? No, I needed another segment of some sort that was a little bit deeper than the one in a parking lot or wherever it was between MJF and Hangman. I don't want to see MVP trying to get MJF on his side. I don't care about that. I don't. Because all that does, and granted, yes, MJF is a heel. He's allowed to look weak. Not that weak. Not that weak. He's not. And the reason why I'm coming here with so much amplitude and what many would think is a little bit of anger is strictly because the passion that I once had for AEW. I do not want to see anything happen to them. Let me make that clear to everybody. I do not want to see anything happen to AEW. I love AEW. I love what they do for the wrestling business. I'm glad that they're there. I just want shit to make sense. And whether that be getting a writer out of there, getting Tony to push things to the side, I don't know. But AEW needs to be better. Now, let's go into my next talking point. What is that, you might ask? What is my next talking point? What could ultimately be the biggest problem on the show? Well, it's the fact that they announced a street fight next week between Jon Moxley and Adam Copeland. If you guys remember at Revolution, it was the worst main event I think I have ever seen in AEW. And that's hard for me to say given that I am a Jon Moxley fan, number one, and I am also a Adam Copeland fan. I hate that this is even a discussion. Now, if you guys remember, Christian cashed in his briefcase or his letter, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. He cashed it in, and he ultimately took the tap to make it a triple threat match or whatever the hell it was, to ultimately have Cope and Jon Moxley, neither of them lose. Now, next week we're going to get a street fight. You'll probably see some of the Death Riders return and all of these things, and the Death Rider story is going to continue. Now, people will argue here that, hey, Swerve came out. Swerve at the end of the main event really helped it. No, the fuck he didn't. Swerve didn't help none of that shit. Swerve added fuel to it by saying, hey, Swerve came out, and it just gave people an argument and a talking point. We seen Swerve for 1 second on TV yesterday. 1 second. Maybe I'm exaggerating, a little bit longer. Why the fuck, if that was your ending, was Swerve only there for one tiny segment? Why? Make it make sense. And why are we doing a match that you already knew is a fucking disaster? It's time to end this shit. AEW is swimming in they're drowning. They are drowning with this storyline. It is the worst thing that I have seen on TV in a wrestling promotion in a very long time. That's saying something. I hate it. I hate the fact that I even have to sit here and have this discussion and talk to you guys about it, because I don't want to see anything happen. I really don't. I want to see these shows succeed. I want to see them do well. But here we are in 2025 having a discussion about the fucking worst match of all time between Adam Copeland and Jon Moxley, who essentially is holding the belt fucking hostage. At this point, that's what it feels like. He's holding it hostage. I said what I said. Ultimately, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide. If you want to disagree with me in the comment section below, let's have a disagreement. Let's talk. Let's have a fucking conversation. Because I'm over it. I'm mad now. I'm angry. I actually am. I can't lie to you. For somebody who was once a huge fan of this show, now watching and looking and being like, what the actual fuck is happening? Little insane. I want to preface this by saying this is not me asking for AEW to go under or anything like that. I don't want to see that happen. So if you made it through this video, thank you. Definitely be sure to like this video. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We can have more arguments and we can talk a little bit more about pro wrestling. I'm live Monday through Friday alongside my friend Ango. So if you guys would like, we'll be live today talking a little bit more about AEW, and you'll probably hear me get a little more mad. So without that, guys, I don't know, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Discord, all linked down below. Come join, come hang out. I'll be talking to you later. Peace.